Greetings, everybody. We are back for week number 5, and this week is all about MLA format and documentation. Many of you, if not all of you, should be somewhat familiar with MLA because most of the time, if you have written any papers in high school, you have been asked to use MLA format and documentation. So that's what we're starting with in ENC1101. We are going to learn one additional style called APA, and because you're going to be using that in a lot of your college classes. So we're going to focus on both of them for each for a different assignment, and MLA comes first. So let me go ahead and take a look at the materials for this week. As usual, I will point out that on the syllabus, we are in week 5. So everything, the one assignment that is due this week is due next Sunday night, and it is the MLA skill drill, where you are going to practice some of the things that you are learning this week about MLA. We're also going to be looking at the first official paper assignment. You will notice that that proceeds over the next few weeks. So next week, you're going to have the proposal for your topic. The week after that, you're going to have what's called an annotated bibliography, which we'll talk more about then. After that, you're going to turn in a draft to me, and you're going to share drafts with each other that you will peer review. And then you'll use that feedback along with my feedback to finalize the paper for the end of week 9. So I know that seems like a long ways away, but it's going to slide by very quickly. So let's go ahead and go to the module and look at what is in this week's materials. So I'm going to skip the overview. You guys can read that for yourselves, but the readings and resources, you do have 2 chapters to read from our free online textbook, the PDF. One is chapter 8, which is a specific type of writing called exemplification. Using examples is another way that people talk about it, and illustration is another word that people use for it. You're also going to read chapter 12 on cause and effect. Your first research paper is going to sort of be a combination of both of those things, because we're going to be focusing on various examples of social media and potential mental health issues. And of course, that also involves cause and effect in terms of, does the use of social media sometimes result in having some mental difficulties? So anyway, we're going to talk about that assignment here in a second. So the main thing we want to do this week, then, beyond learning about MLA, is to review the paper assignment so that you can be thinking about it. And what I've done in this module is listed all of those individual steps. Now, the only thing that's due this week is your MLA skill drill. So nothing on this list is something that is due, but I want you to go through and I want you to read all of them so that you get a sense of what we're doing. The first one is the actual official paper assignment, and then there's the proposal and the peer review and draft. But this is the main assignment. So I'm going to go over that with you here in a moment. We also have Valencia's library resources on MLA, so I've got a link for that. And then we've got several videos about using MLA. The main thing I want you to be aware of with MLA is that the name refers to the Modern Language Association, which is not necessarily anything that you need to know, but it's kind of good to know where it comes from. MLA citations and format are typically used in the humanities, and English, of course, is a humanities area class. APA, which stands for the American Psychological Association, is generally used in the social sciences, so things like history and psychology and sociology. Many classes at the state college level, even in the hard sciences like physics or chemistry or whatever, a lot of times if they're having you write papers or cite research, they're going to ask you to use APA. So that's why I want to make sure that we cover that before we get done with the class. But for now, we're focused on MLA. Like I said, many of you might already be familiar with it. The main things to keep in mind is that MLA is about how the paper itself is set up, so the format. But the most important part of any kind of style system is citing the sources. And so we're going to be using two types of citations in every paper that we write. One is the bibliography or the list of sources, and the other will be what's called in-text, or you sometimes see it called internal citations. There's a lot of different words that you might see for it. But in using those sources, you not only have to put the source itself on that bibliography, but you have to show within the paper where you have used it. And that's where those in-text citations come in. So you're going to have videos, you're going to have some instruction on that this week. And then, of course, don't forget about the grammar text and to keep reviewing that. But before we depart, let's go over the assignment sheet. So this is your official assignment for the first major paper. You have two major papers other than the one that you've already done. By the way, I just want to let you know, I am still working on grading those personal narratives. I'm going to be giving you audio feedback, and I should have them. I wanted to have them done before today, but it just didn't happen. I managed to get a pretty bad cold this week, so things have been a little crazy, but I will get those back. You are the very top of my list of grading. So I will get those back to you probably tomorrow at some point on Monday. So the next paper, though, in this informative research paper, you will investigate the relationship between social media usage and its potential impact on mental health. Social media, of course, has become an integral part of modern society, but its effects on mental well-being are a subject of ongoing debate. Your task is to conduct thorough research, analyze credible sources, and present a balanced assessment of the ways in which social media may influence mental health. So notice that this is not an argumentative paper, so you're not deciding whether or not social media influences mental health, because we know from too many experts that it does. So you're more looking at how it does, right? So you have several possible topics to choose from within that larger thing. There's a list here: comparison of social media use across different age groups, examination of the effects of excessive screen time on mental health. So if you wanted to go beyond just social media, exploration of cyberbullying and its psychological consequences, analysis of the role of social media in shaping body image perceptions, and studying the relationship between social media and feelings of isolation or connection. So the larger topic, of course, is social media and mental health, but you're going to be focused in on a particular aspect of it. For research, you're going to have at least 3 credible sources to support your paper. You can have more than 3, but they should primarily be from the Valencia Library, and we've talked about that a little bit, but we'll continue to work on that. You will have a clear thesis statement that will eventually become the last sentence of your introduction. You are going to be sharing your sources in the form of an MLA annotated bibliography, which is kind of what the literature review piece here is about. You're going to be looking at sources and analyzing those and sharing what you find. Some of that will make it into the paper, and some of it probably won't. In fact, you may even find a couple of sources that, are really interesting and help you understand the topic, but don't end up making it into the final cut. So you'll have some extra sources there. So you will be doing that annotated bibliography fairly soon after you've narrowed down your topic. You're going to have data and analysis, because you're going to get that information from your sources, and you're going to cite every source that you use for those for that information. In terms of what it calls discussion of mechanisms here, we're talking about exploring the psychological and social mechanisms through which social media might influence mental health. So things such as comparison with others, the effect that it has on someone's self-esteem, whether or not that is meaningful social interaction or pretend social interaction. There's some debate over that. And just the overwhelming amount of stuff that we get from social media. If you've ever, I know I have certainly done this, you go online to look at one thing and you end up several hours later, you're still in the same social media app, maybe watching reels, maybe watching TikToks, maybe reading Instagram posts. Like, we can get lost fairly easily. One of the things that you are going to talk a little bit about, or think a little bit about, at least in your papers, is the quote unquote counter arguments. Now, like I said, this is not an overly argumentative paper, but you are going to find that there are opposing viewpoints, that not everybody agrees on the aspects of how it affects mental health. So you're going to explore really all the viewpoints that you find. Based on your research, you will end with some practical recommendations for individuals. That will not be necessarily a major part of your paper, but it's kind of going to bring it home. So think about kind of the conclusion. You will use, as we know, MLA citation and format. So you'll have in-text citations, you'll have a works cited page, and then you'll have proper formatting for the paper itself. I will mention one of the reasons why I have you do an annotated bibliography before you write the paper is that the in-text citations may happen in the paper before the work cited, but you can't know what to put in the individual in-text citations without the work cited. So we really want to start there. So if you're already locating sources, be saving them and putting them somewhere where you can find those citations again. In terms of length, it needs to be at least 4 pages, which of course never ever includes the works cited page. I know we want it to. It will have an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. It will most likely not be exactly 5 paragraphs. A 4-page paper will have more body paragraphs than that. We are going to do the peer review, and we're going to also have me take a look at it. So you will get some feedback before the final version. It's going to be typed, double-spaced, 12-point font, MLA format. You're going to learn all about that this week. Use MLA citation style for the in-text citations and the works cited. And then, of course, you're going to submit your final research paper in Word format to the Canvas assignment. It's fine if you use Google Docs. It's fine if you use Pages if you're on a Mac, but you do need to save it as a Word document and submit it that way. Okay, and I can help you with that if you need help. There is the assignment assessment criteria as far as what your paper will be graded on, and you also have access to the rubric for that. So you will get the feedback from me, just like you will get your feedback on your personal narratives. You'll have a little better information about what that looks like once you get that back. So again, I apologize for not having it before starting this week, but of course the paper's still a couple of weeks off. So I think we're okay. But I will get those back to you as soon as possible. Once you get them back, if you have questions, make sure that you send me a message in inbox, because if you just put a comment in the assignment, once it's graded, I won't see it. It does not alert me to that. So if you have questions about it, once you get it back, make sure to inbox me. All right, everybody. I hope you have a great week 5. And if you need anything, let me know. I'm here.